about martial arts and kickboxing isn't worth knowing.
To look at him, you think he just escaped from some gladiator, dodgy TV series.
I would say that he's not your stereotypical type kickboxer.
A huge amount of ideas, things that no one else has thought about.
You get to know the sense of humour he's got, and you can have a really good laugh with him.
At the end of the day, he is a world champion.
He's still good at kicks and he can still do a cartwheel.
And you can ask him anything.
The best people at their arts are not always the best teachers, but he's got this knack of being a really, really good teacher as well.
Yes, extremely inspirational. And I can actually use him more than Santa. If you do that again, I'm going to tell Master Vince.
So I thought it was a one-way street. It's a bit silly considering I just drove down it the other way.
Well, I mean, I lived on a council estate in Ipswich. It was quite a rough estate. But having said that, it was sort of a safe rough. I mean, if you were part of the crew that lived there, if you like, then it was okay.
So be careful not to say anything politically incorrect. Might just slip out. You can't put this bit in. No, I won't say it. Just in case you want to blacken out me later.
I suppose the earliest memories I have is just playing outside my flat in Ipswich when I was tiny, toddler, 2-3 years old. Just playing outside on the steps and speaking to everyone. Apparently I used to just chat to everyone who walked past. I was a real chatterbox. Yeah, I can remember the old lady saying, oh, yeah, little beer.
So just up here on the right, just as we go past the bus station, is my old, well, not my old school, it's not there anymore, but where my old school used to be. It's now Tower Rampart Shopping Centre. It used to be Tower Rampart School.
I wanted to be a vet, and the careers teacher said, have you any idea how difficult it is to be a vet? There are this many applications and only this many universities. You'll never do it. Why don't you be an engineer? So, like an idiot, I said, oh, okay then. There are several ways we could work it. We could say, look, percentage on tickets, or percentage on tickets we sell. I mean, we definitely get that anyway, because it gives that to all the fighters.
Yeah.
But just got to be sensible business-wise. But, it's the only other thing I think I would have liked to have been a vet.
I think that rather than give people community service, or even a prison sentence, they should just make them watch daytime TV. That way they'd be so brain dead, or brain numbed, that they wouldn't be a challenge to society anymore. To the manor born. Now there's a programme.
Well, I feel like this girl called Jackie Robinson. So she'll be ruined for life now. Anyone ever finds out she'll know. And there's the local village disco, There was a big fight in the disco for some reason. I wasn't involved. Neither was this person I was chatting to afterwards. But I said to him, "Did you see that fight?" Yeah, he said. So didn't get involved. No. Have enough fighting during the week. Do you? I said. Yeah. So I go to karate classes. Ooh, I said, do you? Can I come along with you? But yeah, of course you can.
I can remember him turning up at the academy because I knew his father because I'd worked with him, and I just remember a tall, slightly overweight, blonde guy coming in. His hair in those days was a little bit like bubbles out of the painting.
It was amazing. I just walked in the door, and the moment I walked in the door I thought, this is it. This is where I need to be. This is the place I belong.
So this area down here, just where we're about to go, significant for several reasons. My maternal grandparent My grandparents used to live in this area. I'll show you roughly the area. I'll show you the house if you like. I went to college, Ipswich College, which is now Suffolk University. I'm not sure I can claim I went to university because of that, because it wasn't one I went. And also the very first place I did martial arts is here as well, so all within a stone's throw really. Used to be the Ipswich Martial Arts and Fitness Centre.
I went into this little hall, and they're all in white suits, and they're sweating and talking. It's a high-grade class that I get to watch before my beginners class starts afterwards. And they're just ki-eyeing and making noise. I'm just thinking, wow, that was so cool. I just want to be part of it, you know.
He was definitely competitive right from the start. And once he started training, he trained really hard.
I took my first grading and he gave me my green belt.
He jumped quite a lot of grades, something I don't actually really believe in, but he jumped quite a lot of grades. And he fought in all the tournaments. He would fight anywhere, really.
And took my black belt, just over 2 years, 2.5 years, I think.
Richard was always included. He was always in. You said, do you want to fight? Yes, would be the answer.
I was in the Ipswich C team or D team or something like that. It was great. I just loved it. I thought, I'm in a team.
If you're a good fighter locally, you go to the local tournaments and you start winning, then everybody locally knows you. Because the next step is then going regional and England team, and then if you're winning there, that's how it's just built, you know. And of course, around Ipswich, it built quite quickly because he went through the ranks really quick. And he got to a point, of course, where he got picked for the England team.
It came, well, you know, you have a bit of success, maybe you could be really good.
Over the top, Spence, come on. 1, 2. Time, stance, change it.
Leg races. Mick Blackwell used to constantly take the mick out of me about being weak in the stomach. God, your stomach's so weak. You know, can't you do leg raises? Blah, 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 you know. Long, heavy legs. Yeah, that's why. But yeah, everything was a challenge, but it was great. I just loved the challenge. I just loved the way it was making me a different person, you know, or I was becoming moulded into a person that I really liked. It wasn't that I thought, I'm going to tell people I'm black belt. I'm going to be able to tell people I'm black belt. It wasn't that. It was just I wanted to be involved. Just everything about it was just right. As soon as I got my purple belt, Grandmaster Blackwell asked me if I'd teach a class for him. I used to teach a class of juniors twice a week for him. I just loved it. It was great. It was really nice. I was probably 18 and a half, maybe 19. And to have all these 7, 8, 9-year-olds looking up at you and wanting to be like you. I tell people, when people look up to you and they want to be like you, it's such a responsibility. It's so nice, such a compliment. I was part of the England and Great Britain elite squad, as they used to call it, and the top fighters would meet and train once a month for a weekend. And that was great. I used to really enjoy that, and it was a real buzz being around people who were of that sort of mindset. The downside, of course, is the amount of time that takes. The way competition karate was going at the time, the techniques were becoming more and more limited. You know, you could only guarantee scoring with X, Y, and Z instead of E, G, F, H, I, J, K, X, Y, and Z. You know, and so the training was becoming more and more specific with those 3, 4, 5 techniques. And it was just over and over and again, trying to shave off 1/10 of a second off your response time for a reverse punch, trying to reduce the amount of time it takes for you to step up to do a round kick once you've set up such and such. It wasn't varied enough for me, it was just too repetitive. Without wishing to sound conceited, I'd had 3 years of winning all of them. and it was like, I need a challenge really. Being in martial arts generally, you tend to mix with other martial artists, and you used to get a lot of, yeah, you cry, boys are okay, you're quite fast, but you're not tough like us kickboxers. You know, you couldn't you couldn't carry on, you couldn't do it for such a long time as we do it. It's all over in 3 minutes. I said to Grandmaster Blackwell, let's try it, let's give it a go. And he was just so against it.
To be truthful, I didn't really think it was a good idea, and he did it to start with without really my help. I'm not saying you can't do both to a high standard, but you have to concentrate on one, because a lot of the training is different. The distance is different. The way the punches are thrown, the way you cover up, the way you block, a lot of it is different. So I don't think you can do both. And I mean, what happened with Richard was he came out of karate tournament, went to kickboxing, which I think was probably the right thing for him. And he entered his first tournament. And I watched him and I thought, this is not... It was a hard fight, and it takes a lot of guts to get out there and actually do that. And it was in front of a lot of people. It was in Norwich. A lot of people he knew were there. And I think it was as many people wanting him to lose as to win. If my recollection is correct, he got pushed through, knocked through the ropes, and he got up and... He got on top, and the result was a draw. But then he changed his training, started training properly, and then he got better and better.
From so many years of having someone say, stop, you scored, fight. To all of a sudden, just being in a non-stop fight for 2 minutes per round was a major culture shock.
I've done some sparring and whatever. You think, I've got this handled. It's just such a different environment when you get in the ring.
Kilos to Richard Iceman Vince.
And of course, all of the things that you've honed for years in tournaments, points tournaments, you revert to because they're honed and they're all automatic, but they aren't the right things to revert to. I had a couple of fights, and then
I bumped into two completely independently boxing coaches. One was at the Lads Club in Norwich, where I went to train with a kickboxing class there. At the time, there was a boxing coach in the room who had been there doing some work with a boxer, and after the session he came up to me and said, I reckon you could be alright, well, if you want to do a bit, one-to-one, I'm happy to work with you. And I won the Norfolk ABAs with my second boxing match. And I won the Eastern Counties ABAs for my third boxing match. Well, actually my fourth one, because there was a semi-final and a final. British title. First title I got, British title, which was nice. And, Tony Sykes and I had a bit of a thing at the time. We fought in an event called Clash of the Titans, and it was supposed to be like continuous semi-contact, and it just ended up in a complete battle. And he threw me, the big guy threw me and bit me, and I had teeth marks in my side. I couldn't believe it. I'd never been bitten in a tournament before. I said, well, if you want to fight me hard, fight me full contact. And when the sanctioning body heard that I was fighting Tony Sykes, they said, right, let's make it a British title, let's do it over 10 rounds. And, so, a big jump from 3 to 5 round fights to 10 round fights. But to be fair, I don't think either of us thought it would go 10 rounds. I was really wound up about that fight, really. I don't remember being like that about any other fight, really.
Last time it was semi-contact. This time it's the real thing.
Halfway through the first round, he hits me with a punch so hard, I swear the top of my head goes back so much that the top of my head touches the middle of my back. And it's such a hard punch. But then it was a really hard battle. And he's really big and strong, so it was good fun. good friends now, though.
My skincare regime. Most importantly, Master Vince has soft hands.
Julius Francis's coach, Phil Mayo, he phoned me and said that he had a pull-out for the IKL world title, and he said it was in a month's time. Did I want to stand in? So my initial thoughts were, yeah, of course. I remember getting to about the third or fourth round and thinking, I've got the better of him. I think I'll win it now. I think I can knock him out. But I just couldn't hit him hard enough. We'd been warned, if you go to France, you have to knock the guy out to get a draw. When I got to the end and I hadn't knocked him out, I thought, okay, well, I've lost this. If you look on the video, I'm sort of standing forlorn, looking in the middle of the ring, waiting for the referee to hold Mr. Kutless' hand up in victory, and all of a sudden, Richard wins. It was a real surprise.
I don't know how many thousand French people there was in it, but it was just him and I and all them, and it was great. And he wasn't expected to win. He was put there as an opponent to the person who was supposed to win.
As we came out to the ring, it was all blacked out, just a spotlight on either him or me. And I came out first as the challenger, and they announced me Richard Vince, and it's like this, 3 people in the crowd clapping, and we sort of made our way to the ring, and Philippe Kutless, and the place erupts, and there's loud music, and everyone's cheering and shouting, and you think, a slightly partisan crowd here. So in a way I felt quite sorry for him, but not sorry enough to give him the win. So at the time, I was the world champion of the IKL, International Kickboxing League. Mike Labrie was the world champion of KICK, and I'd fought him. Vitaly Klitschko was the champion of ISKA. I was speaking to one of my students a while ago. He said, I want to fight in the full contact section of the Open tournament that we go to. I said to him, yeah, okay, that's fine. The last time I did that, I ended up fighting Vitaly Klitschko in the final. Now, Vitaly Klitschko was, I believe, world amateur boxing champion, world kickboxing champion, and he's now the world boxing champion. Well, he holds half the world boxing titles, and his brother holds the other half. And I was all prepared for a proper fight and everything, and we got to the final and they called us out, but he knocked me out in the second round. And to be fair, people have said to me, was it hard? I don't remember. Strangely enough, when I came back from France, I had the most dreadful bout of flu. Immediately I thought, that's why he knocked me out so easily. I was obviously sickening for the flu, because that was only yesterday and now I've got flu. Wrong. And again, I really expected to win. I trained hard for it. I trained specifically for someone who was taller than me, and he was 4 inches taller than me. Again, he knocked me out in the second round. But there you go. And at the time, I was so disappointed with myself that I put all of this stuff that related to the fight out of the way somewhere, and I still can't find it. A moment of clarity, where you say, okay, well, I can say genuinely that I'm probably the 3rd best kickboxer in the world. Not even to prove to myself, to see for myself, to discover for myself where I am in the grand order of things. But of course that changes. The day I retired, the thing changed, and it's changed every day since. But you can't keep trying to stay there, can you? I'd always wanted to know how good I could be, and now I knew. So I can start. What I've always wanted for the academy is to have this place where people can aspire to be the best they can be, with loads of help and support. It's a safe environment where people can feel able to experiment and try their best without fear of being ridiculed, and and put down and taken the mickey out of.
I get a real buzz out of seeing somebody who couldn't do something physically become able to do it. But the thing that really excites me is the effect that physical change has on their self-belief.
You know, a lot of people would never want to go to a tournament, and for them it's just about, you know, being able to stand up in front of a class of 5 people and do something. I like the idea that people come in the door and go, you know, and they're relaxed for the time that they're at the academy, and then when they go out the door they sort of brace themselves ready to go back into the big wide world, you know. I'm not sure that happens, but it's a nice thought. Keeps me happy anyway. I suppose it just helps you to be more of you, you know, because it helps you to be, I think, more comfortable with yourself, and more sure of yourself, more confident. Then being more of who you can be is good for most people.
John is an interesting character, which I would say because he's my son. He's a lovely chap, but he has certain difficulties. He has problems with coordination, and he has a label of being mildly autistic spectrum. He has what's called a visual acuity problem, which means that he doesn't see things quite the same way that we do. Richard has had a very positive impact on John's development. I think possibly like a lot of people that John is slightly in awe of Richard. He is such a positive influence. I mean, it's not just around sort of fighting skills, but generally sort of, you know, how you sort of perceive the world, you know, how you interact with it. And he's been a sort of huge motivating force in John's life. He's very approachable. There's no doubt that he's a bit of a charismatic, but he's always got time for you. He always sort of speaks, you know, when you come in. There's far more to him than that. There's this sort of kind of philosophical side and the nurturing side, which he's shown with John, and you see it sort of week in, week out here, that he's here to bring out the potential in individuals. And when you hear people speak about him here, you know, it's always with a sort of great deal of respect, and it's obviously that people really like him.
I like a bit of garden, I do. That get me grounded, so I can have a bit of reality in my life. Now, in all seriousness, I have found gardening to be a way of keeping your feet on the ground. This is broccoli, by the way. Well, it will be broccoli. It's a broccoli plant at the moment. No, you can't sit on this. No, bad place to sit. This is my dog. He may look good, but he's stupid. I don't believe it. What are you doing? Silly.